Hello everyone, we are Group 15. Our topic is value capture. So first of all, let's talk about what is value capture. Value capture is a type of public financing that recovers some or all of the value that public infrastructure generates for private landowners. Sounds abstract, right? So let's give you an example. If the government built a park near someone's apartment, the government may impose a land value increment tax on the apartment owner in order to get back the expense to keep and build the park since they benefit from this public infrastructure. We can simply divide the value capture mechanism into two types by the way how to capture it: active value capture and passive value capture. Based on the example above, active value capture means that the government imposes taxes directly on the landowners as long as they still own the lands. On the other hand, passive value capture only works when the transaction happens. So, next part we're going to talk about the problems of active and passive value capture. So, first, for active value capture, both theoretical and practical problems that are difficult to overcome from a property valuation perspective in implementing betterment devices. The other problem is that although it is possible to distinguish between improvements and the land itself for land value taxation, there is limited comparable evidence for unimproved lands to validate the land valuation. This too might eventually result in political challenges because of the unfairness generated by incorrect predictions. Then, for passive value capture, the first problem is that due to its sensitivity to property transaction activities that could be affected by the economic conditions, which means the government may not receive any tax during a huge crisis like pandemic. Second, the more value captured by the government, the lower people's benefits to take and the more anger from people. At the same time, if the government captures too little, there won't be enough budget for the development of infrastructure. So, for those problems, we give you some solutions and the proper model. Use the example we mentioned previously. First, we can learn that the public infrastructure will increase the interest of people who want to buy the apartment, which means the demand curve for the apartment will move right. Therefore, according to the graph 1, we can see that the price and the quantity will both from P0 and Q0 increase to P1 and Q1. So, what should government that wants to implement value capture should do is to try to move the supply curve left while not reducing the producer surplus and the consumer surplus. How to do it? There are two key points. First, the government should not implement active value capture. The reason why the government should not do it is that it might impose the tax that exceeds the limitation, which directly reduce the consumer surplus and the producer surplus, like what we mentioned in the problem part. Second, when the government uses passive value capture, the limitation of tax that the government can impose is the amount of that will not let the quantity go down below Q0. According to the graph 2, we can see that when the supply curve moves to S1, the quantity moves back to the original amount of quantity. According to graph 3, we can see that the produced surplus and consumer surplus will just be the same to the original condition, and there will be extra tax, which is the blue part. So, in conclusion, although there are a few drawbacks, value capture should be used, because as long as the government follows the two rules we mentioned above, they can perfectly execute the target of value capture without hurting anyone and enable governments to fund public infrastructure and service in a sustainable manner. Here are our references. Thanks for listening.